What's good, family? Smash the like button and subscribe. Oh no, your man's Tyson Fury. In fact, tell I, your man's Tyson Fury, aka Tyson Scary, has clapped back at Deontay Wilder's recent call out regarding C19 gate, aka the July 24th pullout gate scandal. So let me give you, in case you haven't seen it already. I did do a video on this in its own right, but let me give you a quick run through. This is what Deontay Wilder said to call out Tyson Scary a few days ago regarding his pullout. He said, "Yo, bro," at Malik Queen Scott. He said, "Oh, man, yo, bro, Malik Scott, say it ain't so. Not the C19 lie. They going to hell for that one. October 9th cannot come any faster." There you go. So you heard there the audio message Deontay Wilder sent into the YB, essentially calling out Lyson Fury and saying, "Listen, Lyson, you are a liar, aka Lyson, and you are scary, aka Lyson Scary. You're lying about C19. There weren't no July 24th thing. You weren't sick. You was in the casino. You stay in the casino, and it is what it is." Now, in that video, just quickly, I did say that for me it's a bit too little too late from Wilder, but either way, he said it. He called it out in so many words. I mean, he didn't tag Lyson Scary, he didn't tag Fury, but obviously we know he's talking about Fury anyway. Let's get to Fury's response. Fury responded to following. This man is a real, this man, is a real piece of work. I can't do my throat's too dry. Anyway, Lyson Scary said, "This man is a real piece of work, a real bully, excuse maker, not a warrior or a man at all. Beat the mug 2 times. I've battered him and his trainer, but still talking shit. Real pussies. Oh no." At the Bronze Bomber. Now, let me tell you, man, something right now. This is what I try to tell Wilder about. Do you see how direct Fury's message is? He tags Wilder, for example. That's just the bare bones. Wilder in his message didn't even tag Fury. It's like I don't know what it is. It's almost like Fury is Voldemort to Wilder. We saw some suspect actions at the press conference. Wilder was almost scared to address Scary. He was almost scared to address Tyson Fury. It's kind of weird. And now, Fury's pulling out and all sorts, and again, Wilder's scared to address the matter. It's taken Wilder 2.5 weeks to get the courage up to put a message out. Wilder, he pulled out 2 weeks ago. Where was your message then? You're missing. Obviously, all the goofy Wilder fans say, "Oh man, well, he training and he training." The man's just pulled out for 3 months. What do you mean training? What, innit? Training for what? Your man's Fury just pulled out and delayed the fight by 3 months, and you want to tell me he's training? He needs to be doing the most with his mouth for once. The one time people wanted to hear from Wilder was when Fury pulled out. He quiet, he missing, he silent. And now we get some dry message 2.5 weeks later from Wilder, and then Fury responds. Fury does it properly. Fury gets right back in. Fury gets straight back on to popping Wilder in his trainer's ear again. It's just dread. Listen, Fury's got no respect. He's got no shame and he's got no respect. He's happy. Listen, Fury, give Fury anything, and Fury will end up getting off all over Wilder again, and Wilder just takes it. He don't do that, does he? Let's call a spade here. Fury has done several questionable things. The pullout, where there's evidence that he's cheated. In the ring, there's evidence that stuff was goofy, and never once has Wilder actually jumped on it with lawyers, with anything. He just kind of just sucks it up and takes it for the team. How many times, Wilder, are you going to be got off all over before you start doing something for yourself? It's bad. Now, I guess I'm sure Wilder fans will say, "Oh man, but YB, he gonna get back on October 9th. Yeah, you best hope he will. Because the odds are Fury ain't gonna turn up. And then you're gonna be sorry. Because, like I said, if Wilder had pressured the governing body WBC and or the Nevada State Athletic Commission, NSAC, to do something about this lying and pulling out, maybe then he'd have got some sort of guarantees, i.e., well, you know what, we investigated it, Fury couldn't prove evidence he was actually sick, and therefore we're going to give him the October 9th date, or we're going to strip him. Now you've left it wide open, and he can pull the next joke on you, for all you know. And now, to add insult to injury, Fury getting off all over you again as well. Showing you no respect. Imagine this, yeah. He pulls out, and he's the one on the offensive. This man is a real piece of work, a real bully, excuse maker, not a warrior or man at all. Beaten him up 2 times. I've battered him. Oh, this is so peak. I've battered him and his trainer. Imagine that. It's almost like a man, yeah. In boxing terms, it's almost like a man battering you and your dad. Imagine that. Yeah, imagine a man battering you and your dad. It's kind of like, wow, my whole surname line has been taken out by one Don. It's just super depressing, isn't it? That's what it's like. Fury's taken out Deontay Wilder's whole line, all of his mans. Yeah? No doubt. The very man who's supposed to care and nurture you in Malik Scott has been taken out by you. You know what I'm saying? Your opponent is taken out. It's almost like... Tell I. It's not almost like, it is. What's that film called where he's got... Is it Karate Kid? Karate Kid, yeah? Imagine the villain in Karate Kid taking out Sensei and the Ute. Isn't it? Imagine that. It's just peak. That's the situation we find ourselves in. Deontay Wilder is Karate Kid, yeah? And Sensei, Mr. Miyagi, is Malik Scott. Tyson Fury comes along and licks the head off of Mr. Miyagi, and Wilder got licked off as well. Yeah. So in a way, it's kind of making sense now. It's making sense why Wilder feels so vulnerable, because guess what? If you knew your Mr. Miyagi had been licked off already, how much confidence would you have in yourself if you know that your opponent has already murked your Mr. Miyagi? He's already murked your sensei. So now we know why Wilder won't tag Fury, because you know what I'm saying? How can he tag Fury? How can he tag the man who's murked his sensei? It just don't feel right, does it? I mean, talking from personal experience, I'd be scary too. Because think about the love and the... What's the word? Think about the love and the respect and the... whatever else, all of the accolades you give to your sensei. You know, you put him on a massive pedestal. Wow, he's the master of knowledge. And your master of knowledge gets bopped on the ear. Gets his eardrum popped like a cherry. Oh, it's so bad. But the reason this is so peaky is because Wilder gives Fury this strength. He gives him it because he never contests it. I'm not talking about with words, but he just don't do nothing. He just stays like a sideman. Now, if obviously Wilder prevails and smokes Fury on October 9th, it's all over. In fact, he's redeemed himself, no doubt. But if he doesn't, he's gonna be looking super silly. But YB, what difference does it make? Well, the point is, if Wilder had been vocal over this last X amount of time, if he'd have called him out about the July 24th pullout and put pressure on him, at least then, if he got washed, he'd have had some victory. Now we've just been a silent sideman on the side, watching all of this FUC-carry continue. And Fury gets to carry on like he smells like roses. And you man know me. For a long time, I said Wilder is a bottom. Since Fury pulled out, Fury's now the bottom. But I'm not the only fan. Many people who preferred Fury over Wilder have flipped now, just on principle. They don't like duckers like Fury. But the fact Wilder's so passive, the fact Fury just keeps getting off all over Wilder, and Wilder just stays there taking it. It's hard to support. That's what it. You know what I'm saying? What can we do with this? What has Wilder given us to support? Oh man, well, he showed us his paired footage. Listen, Wilder, putting out pad footage. I've already seen you on the pads. Everyone can fight good on the pads. What you need to do, yeah, Wilder, what you need to do is put out some footage of you in sparring, tucking up, taking shots, you know what I'm saying, tucking up, getting walked down. Show me some sparring footage of you in the gym with Joe Joyce, and he's putting it on you. Show me the footage of you in sparring with Alexander Usyk, and he's going in there, you know what I'm saying, or not. Show me the footage of you sparring with Andy Ruiz or Derek Chisora, better still. That's what we need to see. It's almost like the feeling I get is Wilder recently, he applies all of his everything he says these days. He adds some footage of him on the pads, as if it's to say, "Oh guys, look, I'm legit. Please tell me about how legit I am. Look at my skills." But I already knew. I've already done videos saying, "Look, Wilder looks good on the pads." Long before he lost to Fury in the second fight, I'd already clocked that he looks good. He looks good on the pads, and he falls apart in the ring. We need to see you sparring. Derek Chisora would be the best guy, because if you can spar a Del Boy, you can take Fury, or you can take Fury's pressure. Because we already saw what happened to Fury's opponent. Yeah, Wilder's opponent. What was his name? Listen, Chisora knocked him to Kingdom Come. That's what did happen. Yeah, Chisora knocked him to Kingdom Come. What was his name? I don't know, but either way, it was a guy. It took Wilder like 15 rounds to get him out of there, and Chisora knocked him out in one. That's what we want to see. Show me some interesting sparring footage, or a little snippet in it. Show me a snippet of you in the pocket, catching a shot off of Chisora and whipping a counter in. Just show me some footage of you. Just show me some footage of you being backed up and surviving. That'll do. I'll take that. Oops, there ain't none. Because I'm not even sure you're sparring. I think you're just on the pads. I think what happened in February 2020 has given you gun fright, whatever they call it. I think you're scared to get hit again. I don't think you're sparring in your training camp anymore. Because what do we know? Yes, 100% Fury got turned over in sparring, no doubt, 100%. We know that as a fact. We know as a fact, Tyson Fury got his hind legs rode off him in sparring, 100%. But the thing is, that's a fact. What we don't know is, guess what? We've heard of all the names that was in Fury's camp. We've heard of all the young bucks who was filling Fury in sparring. How many names have we heard linked to Wilder's camp? Oops. Oops. There ain't been no names linked. Why? Because there ain't no sparring partners there. He only doing pads. And I've got another video coming soon. I'm going to give you some leaked information right now. I'm hearing Wilder isn't doing any sparring in this camp. He's only training on the pads. And or the little sparring he is doing is with random dons. He ain't bringing no big bucks in there. And if you disagree, any LDBC Wilder fans out there, if you disagree, you tell me who he's been linked with. Oops. You show me when he's been pictured with anyone else in the gym apart from Malik Scott. Oops. Yeah? Like I told you, I've got some new information coming soon. Wilder, he isn't sparring. Not with anyone who's named anyway. Malik Scott is his only training partner. And we saw how that played out in February 2020. Anyway, listen. Fury, I don't even want to get into what Fury said, man. I'm just... I'm just one of them ones for me. It's one of them ones. About real piece of work. Fury, you are a real piece of work. But, again, we've made the videos. All of us YouTube dons, we've done our part. We've all made the videos airing Fury out. But Wilder, he just don't do nothing back. So ultimately, Fury ends up looking better in this situation. Can you believe it? Fury pulls out, yeah? And he's the one owning the narrative about how Wilder's a real piece of work, and about how Wilder's a bully, and about how Wilder's not a real warrior. Why is Fury winning? Why is Fury dominating the narrative? Guess what? Fury's the only one who tagged someone in their post. Fury's the only one who's made a personal post. Wilder's message didn't even tag Fury. Like I told you, man, in the video last time. The only reason anyone knows what Wilder's talking about, or the only people who know anything about what Wilder's talking about in his post, was the hardcore fans who have been following this kind of narrative, who's been following the whole event. But broadly speaking, or in general speaking, Fury's been dominating the narrative. I bet the average fan doesn't even have a clue that Fury even pulled out, do they, really? I bet they don't. I bet you any money the average fan would just... I bet you any money if I told the average fan Fury versus Wilder 3 is on October 9th, they'd say, oh great, cool. They wouldn't even know anything about the pullout. And then obviously they see this message from Fury to Wilder. Fury's dominating the narrative. Wilder, he missing.